cross country 2017 versus cross country down country 2021. Hello my friends, this is Danny and this is my bike which I've been using since 2017. This is the Merida 96 2017, but this is not a review, simple review of 96. Of course you will see all the details in a second. I'm not gonna do any vlogging, any unnecessary thoughts here, so let's get right into it, because the main thing I want to tell you is the difference between the older XC and the newer XC. There are cons and there are pros. Okay, so 2017, 2021, guess the weight. This bike weighs exact 10.5 kilograms. Both are 29ers. This one doesn't have the dropper post. This one weighs, and you know what? I don't know why the reviewers, they review bikes and then they don't check the info on the weight, because Merida usually say the real weight, but they say on their website 1029 for this bike. On my weight, which is precise up to 20 grams, I see 1068. So almost 10.7, 10.5, 10.7, both large. Okay, details. There are a couple of things that have changed, but if you wonder why this one is lighter than this one, and you think, okay, because this one doesn't have the dropper post, let me remind you one thing. This is about 200 grams carbon post, seat post. This is over 500 grams carbon seat post, but this is 1300 grams fork, and this is over 1600 grams fork. So I would say that where this bike loses with the dropper post weight-wise, it will gain because of the lighter fork. So this is quite equal, I would say. And the saddle isn't original. It was Pro Logo. I didn't like it, and it was heavier. So this is also carbon rails saddle. So here you see the differences, and the additional weight problem will be the wheels in the second. Okay, but main differences, guys, for the cross country. This is already modern cross country. 29ers, everything super efficient. Going towards down country is the geometry. So, number one, 70 degrees head angle. Friends, this would be 90 degrees. This is 70 degrees. I'm exaggerating. This is 68.5, so slacker. We are going towards trail bikes, geometry-wise, wheel-wise, okay? This bike, this is the RC highest model, very expensive. It also has the non-RC version, which has 20 millimeters of travel more and even slacker head angle by 1.5, again 1.5, which is 67. So the downcountry version with the Maxxis Minion, more aggressive tires, 20 millimeters travel more, and 1.5 degrees slacker head angle. This one is 68.5, this one is 70. Have I ever felt lack of stability on this bike? Never ever. Remember that also the offset of your fork will determine with this head angle how the bike behaves. This one behaves beautifully on the cross-country tracks, but this one should even be more stable. I did try it on single tracks. It is stable, it is still nimble, but I would never say, oh, I wish I had a slacker head angle on my cross-country bike. I never did. But this is one thing that has changed. Another thing, which is good, is the bottom bracket drop, which is just basically how high you are sitting on the bike, because on the full suspension bike, you're always higher than on the hardtails. So here we have 50 millimeters drop, which means that this point, the center of your bottom bracket is 50 millimeters below the line that will connect your hubs, okay? 50 millimeters. And here we have 45. So this one is 45 millimeters higher, 50 millimeters 45 millimeters lower, which means it's a half centimeter higher than this bike, right? Just higher bike. This one is half centimeter lower. I had a little bit too low pressure on my suspension on the single trails, and I have hit one rock with my crank arm. So just remember about that. But having lower bike is better on those super technical cross-country tracks. Another thing that is not necessarily better, but it's different, is that this bike is considerably longer and lower. This one is like from this point to this point, right? It's shorter and higher. More comfortable position. Here, lower center of gravity. In theory, better to climb. I love this bike climbing. I just love it climbing. And you see the stem I flipped because it was just too low for me. Not because of my flexibility, but because of one thing that I'm going to show you in a minute on the saddle. But you can see this one. And I'm not sure this could be flipped because this is the type of the stem that needs to have distance, a gap here and no gap here. So it is upside down now. This one isn't upside down. And remember here I have 2 spacers. And this one came with no spacers, probably because this is a testing bike. I hope that if you buy a new bike, you got uncut steerer with some spacers, because I think most of you would like to have this stem a little bit higher. Even though this stem is shorter than this one, this position is more comfy. Now about this saddle, why did I have to flip the stem? Because when you get lower and longer bike, you need to lean forward. And when your torso goes or upper body goes down, your pelvis should rotate like this. Also with your upper body. The problem is that then you need to go down with the tip of your saddle. And I like my saddle like this, especially on the cross-country bike. Problem is that I don't have long enough screw here, right? This screw or bolt is just too short. So I will probably need to replace it because it's already hidden in the thread. Had same problem here. This one is like maxed out so that the tip of the saddle goes down. I get more support when I go up the hill, the very steep climbs. So that saddle going a little bit down. Just look at, for example, Jaroslav Kulhavi's saddle. His saddle is like this. I'm not sure whether he's still riding like that, but lower and longer bike, you need to be able to adjust your saddle. All right. So we have the head angle, slacker, more downhill oriented. We have a little bit lower bike, 5 millimeters lower than this bike. And we have some practical stuff too on the new Merida. You can put 1, 2 bottle cages. You need adapter for a bottle cage here, but you have also the third place where you can mount. This is the adapter for your fixing kit, like the CO2 or additional like spare tube or anything. You can mount it here and 2 bottle cages here. Check out, guys, all the full suspension cross-country bikes, because this is also the direction now. They try to allow you to travel with 2 bottles. This one bottle, because as you can see, this down tube, it's almost straight. This one goes, okay? But this is the 2017 version, and 2018 or 19, they also put another bottle cage down here. So you, on the newer one, but still this generation, you will be able to have 2 bottle cages. Okay? Then we have this damper here. Here we have the rebound knob and this hose. As you can see, it's going quite externally, and Sometimes you can hurt your hand when you want to quickly reach for your bottle. And here, really sleek design. It goes just in here, but you still have access to the damper, to the mounting of that cable. There was the hydraulic system, and here we have the mechanical. Okay, so practicality, good. And also stand over here is lower. That's better than the little bit higher frame. Okay, then the swing arm. The swing arm. This is the direction for all of the bikes now. Getting rid of the additional pivot here, which was there. 3 things that will be created by this system. Number 1, it's lighter. Well, you need to save weight comparing to the previous generations because you've got so many things like those white rims and the dropper post and different tires. So that's one thing. Second thing, it's in theory at least stiffer than the one with more parts, right? Third one, that's the con. It will be less sensitive than the one that has the pivot. By the way, guys, 10,000 of kilometers, roughly, I never touched these. I never greased, never cleaned. This bike is being pressure washed. I know how to do it. And no squeaking, no problems. And I never even felt, oh, it would be nice to have a stiffer rear end. No, this was perfect. This one is easier. On the other side, I do not feel as if this one was more sensitive than this one. It is, in theory. I'm not sure it's something that you will actually sense during the ride. Okay, so just bear that, have that in mind. All right, this is roughly about the frames. This one is also dropper post compatible, and this is Di2 compatible and front derailleur compatible. Most of the new bikes will not be front derailleur compatible any longer, but probably you don't care about the front mech anyway, which I like. I like front derailleurs. Okay, important thing, the wheels. We've got beautiful DT Swiss XR 1501 29 wheel with 22.5 millimeters internal width. This one is carbon XRC 1501 30 millimeters wide. You can see how much wider this rim is comparing to this rim. So again, we are going towards gravity with it. Okay, the tire on the wider rim will just be wider, and in theory you can run lower pressure. You will have lower rolling resistance and better traction. Well, I don't need lower pressure than I'm running on this bike. That's number one. I don't feel as if I really had more traction, and I'm not sure that wider tire with lower pressure will have lower resistance. It will be a trade. It might be lower resistant on very rough terrain, but maybe when you go through some more like hard pack, this one will shine. I'm not sure about that. I haven't felt more traction on this, even though this is still with the inner tubes. This is the testing bike. This is tubeless bike, but I was running about 1.6 bar both front and rear, just to test those. Maybe also I don't really like the Recon Race that much. It's called a semi slick. I don't see a slick here, but these knobs are really low comparing to this is actually my favorite Schwalbe Racing Ray and Racing Ralph, which has higher knobs. This is already used for a couple of hundred kilometers. Ooh, well over that. Okay, this rim, when I measured it externally, it had 1 whole centimeter more width than this rim. You can even see it. But then remember, when you look at those tires, it will not translate to the same difference in width. So 1 centimeter more width on the rim will not give you 1 centimeter more width on the tire. This is the profile on the tire on my maybe not old school, but the older XC bike, and this is the one on the newer one. Okay, yes, there is a difference, but it's not as much as on the rims. And remember that this is the 2.35 wide tire, and this one is 2.25. So if I had 235, there would be even less difference between this and this. Just bear that in mind. This is not a paid review. Thank you, Merida, for sending me this bike. But this is just what I see and what I can tell you as the customers. Okay, so we have the frame set. Both bikes have 100 millimeters of travel front and rear, but this one also comes with the down country version, which will have 67 head angle. It's slacker, 20 millimeters more of travel, and Maxxis Minions more aggressive tires. The non-RC version, the highest non-RC version, will be little bit over 1 kilogram heavier than the highest RC version. All right. Okay, the dropper post. This is a pretty heavy dropper post, Fox transfer. Don't worry, guys, when you buy this bike, this particular bike, it will come with Kashima code. I don't know why I got the one, maybe they didn't have it yet. It's like a testing version. But this is the worst dropper post I ever had because of this. Okay, listen to that. Why did they do it? Nobody does it on the stensions, right? Because the stensions should be as smooth as possible. So this one will get stuck quite often. Even if I just stop with the guys and talk with the guys and with the saddle lowered, it sometimes doesn't want to go up. And this is the new dropper post. But you will get the one with the Kashima code, so don't worry about that. I don't know why did they add that grooving. That's really weird. But as for the travel, for the cross country, it's huge. I'm not sure. This is 13 centimeter, 130 millimeters. It's a lot comparing to my, for example, DD Swiss 50 millimeter super light carbon one. And I'm still trying to figure out whether the 50 millimeter travel will be enough because of for the sake of having a lighter carbon dropper post. But this one is it's a lot. It's beautiful for riding. You're gonna love it for riding. Okay, one thing on this bike is also that the press fit bottom bracket is gone. We are back to the GXP system. And it's also heavier than the press fit. Maybe some people were complaining about the press fit. You know the opinion about the press fit overall, but I never had any problems with it on my bike. Okay, so we've got the frames, we've got the wheels, and the rim width creates one really big problem. If you want to have light wheels with 30 millimeters of width, they have to be carbon, otherwise they will be just heavy. 22.5, 30 alloy carbon, same weight. We have about 1500 and something, 35 grams for these and these. And these are, I think these are twice as expensive as these wheels. So as you can see, we already have 10.68 bike, and it's already high-end bike and really expensive. Okay, so would I upgrade from 2017 to 2021? Remember, this is not trail riding, this is XC. We want to get every second, just squeeze them out of our components. No. I will only add the dropper post here and I'm fine with this bike. This bike is great. So if you are buying now new bike, should you buy such a bike? Of course you should, because this is a great cross-country bike. There are some changes. It's more gravity oriented. I'm not saying XC is becoming gravity sport, but it should be more capable on the downhills than this one. This one is enough. This one is even more. That's what I would say. So guys, cross-country, the newer cross-country, and in the non-RC, non-racing version, it will be even the down-country, which means very light trail bike, I would say so. Very, very efficient kinematics, beautiful on these bikes. As you can see, really good bike which can go for thousands of miles with any issues. I have never serviced the bike, I mean the suspension. Only once, just when I got it, I was bleeding and making the video for you for the lockout, hydraulic lockout. This is an additional thing I mounted here. Otherwise, no problem. Very, very expensive tool for removal those tensions here. I haven't bought it yet. This is all very, very solid. And now, this is the second chain. The first chain was only 0.5 longer, but look at the cassette. This is, my friends, 10,000 kilometers SRAM Eagle cassette. This is 70 kilometers Shimano XTR cassette. So I think you've got most of the info that you would need. Wider tires, more downhill oriented, very practical, more practical even than this one. But this one was, in my opinion, already enough. Let me know what do you think, and if you like the sincere reviews, just help me out a little bit with those. Okay, guys? Cheers and see you soon.
Sometimes it really feels like I lose control.